along with 13 other ranchers and farmers, were honored by the city, giving us plaques saying you've had your ranch for 150 years, farmed or ranched it, hung on to it. And I find it kind of insulting now to go up there and get this nice award, and then to come home and say, oh, by the way, we're going to confiscate your property, and as Chris Caldwell said, charge you to set your pump down. That just seems really bizarre. But my great-great-grandfather helped found this county. He worked as a packer from Jacksonville to the coast to Portland, and if the river had been a main source of commerce, I'm sure he would have rather taken the easy route and used it instead of using mules and horses and later wagons to haul freight.
In fact, the existing 450-foot wide structure will only see 9 of its 16 bays removed. Existing structures on both banks, like fish ladders and other pieces of concrete, will remain in the river forever. Depending on the river flows, the pumping plant may be exposed up above the water surface at times. Finally, the downstream apron of the dam will be left in place. This will preclude restoration of the original towwag, but will leave conditions suitable for fish passage and possibly boat traffic. Talking to the Bureau of folks, they don't know exactly what it's going to look like when this project is complete. It may be more like a waterfall for a while until the river flattens it out by moving the gravel. Public safety may be of great concern during high flow events at this location. Bureau of Rec does not have accurate topographical information on the floor of the river prior to the dam. The hydrological model would indicate some inflow of upstream channel gravel to normalize the vertical drop. However, it may take a substantial amount of time to see exactly what the impacts to the road will look like. Clearly, we'll never restore the flow of the road to the ordinary natural conditions President stated. Furthermore, for the lake portion upstream, there will be an even greater risk of property line disputes. If the state takes ownership and does not vacate the new upland portion between the old ordinary high water and the new ordinary high water, there will be expansive, I'm talking like a football field, public land in front of everybody's private house, and it's going to make a big problem. There will be vacant boat ramps and dock features abandoned in place. These are all close proximity to residents. It's going to look like a playground. This will certainly increase the potential for conflict. The state of Oregon should have give greater consideration to whether or not this change in designation to navigability for title purposes is prudent for this location.
My name is Ray Hansen. I represent the Northwest Rafters Association, and I'm also speaking on behalf of the American Whitewaters. I want to say, first of all, that I was at the meeting on March the 5th. I want to compliment Steve and Jeff on the way they handled that meeting. They did a heck of a good job. With regard to the first question, the accuracy and completeness of the report, it is the position of the Northwest Rafter Association that the Rogue River Draft Navigability Report is accurate and straightforward in its presentation of the facts related to the question whether or not the 89-mile segment of the Rogue River from Grays Creek to Lost Creek Dam is in its natural state, or whatever state you want to define it. Okay. Second issue, the declaration of whether or not it's public ownership. It is the position of the Northwest Rafter Association that the evidence presented in the second draft of the Rogue River Draft Navigability Report concerning the 89-mile study segment represents substantial evidence in the record that the draft report meets the requirements. A short comment for the future. We recommend that the legislative branch and the administrative branch of the state of Oregon establish some type of legal framework that will go about establishing the rights of people on rivers, so that you don't have to go through this process. There are two models. The Montana legislature in 1997 went through this process, and so did the state of Idaho, not in the same year. We also recommend that there be some strong element of education of the public about landowners' rights and the public's rights to use rivers in the state of Oregon. Thank you.
Mr. Tom Harrison on the microphone on the right, and on the one on the left would be Mr. Art Jefferson.
Thank you for being here today. My name is Tom Harrison. I live at 13334 Modoc Road, White City, Oregon. I've lived on two different locations on the Rogue River for a total of 14 years out of the last 20. I'm a real estate broker and have been selling my land in the Rogue Valley for over 25 years. I'm concerned about the effect of the declaration of navigability for the upper Rogue area because it will make the issue of ownership for numerous parcels on the river and in that general area much more complex than it already is. I can't say with any precision what the effect on market values might be, but I would expect that it would cloud many of the deeds and restrict the number of willing buyers. My concern stems from the fact that the upper road in many locations has shifted convulsively from its original channel at the time of statehood. The state would have to enter into numerous unlimited transactions to end up with title to the existing riverbed. Currently, those questions of title involve private parties and do not engage the state as a party. Under the current situation, the public has an easement which allows it to enjoy the recreational opportunities afforded by the Rogue River without having to claim ownership of the riverbed. It is accepted that they may stop along the river and disembark as long as they stay within the mean high water mark. I'm not aware that this has caused conflicts with the landowners and the users. This is an easy concept to explain to a potential buyer and has not been a problem in my experience. The current state of affairs does not require any legal action when the Rogue River changes course to continue the easement across the surface. In addition, the state, through the Department of State Lands and the Department of Fish and Wildlife, regulates the management of the riverbanks in conjunction with the authority claimed by the United States Army Corps of Engineers. As a result, the character of the riverbanks is already under state regulation and control. Finally, the landowners and users of the river have recourse to local law enforcement officials if there is perceived trespass or conflict. This keeps the management of neighborly disputes at the local level that they might be best resolved. Given the problems with funding our state police staffing requirements, I fail to see how the state can deliver better service. As an afterthought in reviewing the standards used by the Department of State Lands in making its initial recommendations in the draft proposal, I fail to see how any stream or creek in the state of Oregon could be exempt from the claim of navigability.
Things here that bother me a little bit. First of all, I don't think that you should find fault with the board or with DSL. They did not create this problem. It was created by your legislature. They are just a vehicle. My understanding is, and I've heard the word avulsion in regards to changes of land. If you look at Clark's on surveying and boundaries, other text having to do with surveying, it says that if there's an avulsion, a rapid change, violent change, there is no change in ownership of the land. If it happens because of accretion, where there's a slow buildup of land, then there is a change. If it happens because of reliction, where there's a slow change, there is a change in the ownership of the land. I cut my whole program short here. The Attorney General's opinion came out, and he said that if a river is wide enough and deep enough to float a boat, it is navigable. The federal law in the Ball decision of 1870 said that rivers that are navigable in fact are navigable in law. The legislature created this problem.